of the ANRP. Who is Iboro Otu?
Just a guy.
How just? Define just.
Well, like every young man, I have interests in several areas. Business, social entrepreneurship is my thing. And, I've been running Alert Nigeria for a while. 3, 4, 5 years now. So I'm just like every other person.
So let's say I remove the politics cap off you. I take off Alert Nigeria.
Yeah.
I take off your education.
All right.
What will be left of you?
Me?
And that you is what I want to know. Let me help you.
I have certain likes in life, like maybe socially.
What philosophies do you live by? What's your valued system? What's the one thing? What's the no-go area for you? What's the yes and yes and yes for you? What raises your eyebrows? What causes your heart to thump, to move, to vibrate? What moves your feet faster than your eyes?
Right.
What values do you say this is it for me?
I love live and let live.
Fairness.
I love that fairness, equity. I love those things that make other people happy and myself as well. I love social life, hanging out with friends, listening to good music, and I guess what I like is what I also guess everyone likes. The ability to chase my dreams without hindrance and to live my life in peace and to pursue things that make me happy.
Between competition and collaboration, what would you choose?
It depends on sometimes I like collaboration, sometimes competition if it's sport. So it depends on the environment.
What kind of upbringing did you have? How did you grow up? What was it like? How did you grow up?
It wasn't really very good.
Did you grow up in Akwa Ibom State?
Yeah. I grew up in Ikotepene.
Okay. So you can do a bit of Anang?
Yeah. I speak Anang, not a bit of. I grew up there and I... About it.
That's what Anang.
That is Ikotepene Anang, the best language ever.
But you didn't say right. I think Anang says Atiedie.
I'm right.
You're right. Abadie. Abadie. Is that right?
Yeah, Atiedie is like different Abak and the rest of the people, but Ikotepene Anang is Abadie.
Okay, let's stay with the kind of upbringing you had.
Yeah.
What was it like? Born with a silver spoon, had mom and dad together, and doing it for you. What was it like? Or did you have to
I have
it all alone?
we are 9 in the family, so I guess.
Monogamous or polygamous?
No, from one mother.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was all right. I think we had a bit of stuff because people thought that we were well-to-do.
Okay. So you were reasonably comfortable.
Yeah, reasonable. That's the word.
Okay.
But
so you don't know what hard life is like?
I do a lot.
How would you know?
I do a lot because I went through a lot of hard times when I was growing up. We didn't have things thrown at us. Well, I didn't. But then it depends on how you look at it or who is telling the story. Yeah. So when I got into my teenage years, I started reading. And in my mind, I could create a world I wanted to live in. And in my mind, I had a lot of vision. So I then started having a lot of difficulties with growing up because I'd see things and I'd ask myself, this is not how things are supposed to be.
What is your most memorable impact on the world? What is the one thing you've done in your community, in your state, in your nation, in your world that has been very beautiful for you, that has been a source of inspiration for you? Your most memorable impact on the world?
There's so many.
Which one counts more? Which one weighs heavier?
There's so many. Maybe Alert Nigeria and my ambassadors going out there and creating service, delivering service to people in communities, and me getting to empower them to do so. But it's what I do in many ways. Yeah, and there's some that I wouldn't want to mention on camera because they're private.
So you've touched lives?
Maybe. I've done my bit.
You want to do more?
Of course, that's why we're here. That's why I'm running for governor.
So what has been your most humbling experience in life?
Meeting people I hold in high esteem, and some of them are very normal and very human. Yeah, I've met a couple of people that I thought were really out of this world, and they just they sound really cool and better than how I expected them to be. So yeah, I guess.
Stars?
Yes, unfortunately.
Would you drop names?
Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah, like Boys to Men. A lot of people like Good Luck Jonathan. Yeah, I think the humblest person I've ever met in my life is Good Luck Jonathan.
How so?
Could you share the experience?
Yeah, the guy is crazy, man. He's very unpredictable. You cannot guess what he'll do. He's superb. Yeah, I didn't like his government. I never liked him as a politician, to be honest. But as a person, he's amazing.
Did you meet him before?
No. I met him just a week after or so he left office. But it's not about that. It's about how he carries himself. He's truly different. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get down to business. Why do you want to be governor of Akwa Ibom State?
Service. I am tired of what I see, how people live, and I believe we can do better.
We will get to the parts where you tell us what you see and what you want to change.
Yeah.
But for now, tell us honestly, tell me why you want to be the governor of Akwa Ibom State.
I feel that what is missing in the state, I can provide them. I feel that I have the networks, the understanding, the connections, the intelligence, the knowledge, the wisdom, the temperament, and that I know the people in this state, Akwa Ibomites, that have the capacity, that can manage, that can provide the services, and that I understand my people really well to provide these services in a way that they can enjoy it and I can enjoy it too. And also that it is very easy to do. I think what has made me, engage the system so hard is because of the ease at which I know that the services can be provided. When something is so easy to do, and you know that you can do it and it's so easy, you just want to jump on it and just get it done. So I guess that's it.
The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yes. But there's no other side, we are on the same side.
Just to look at this, you say your main reason for wanting to be governor of Akwa Ibom State is that of service.
Yeah.
How do you define service exactly?
Service is understanding the people and providing what they need.
What does Akwa Ibom need?
I believe Akwa Ibom people need to be able to put food on their table, get jobs, take care of their kids, and have room to pursue their dreams. And I believe it's the function of the government to provide the environment for them to do so. And I feel that not just in Akwa Ibom, in Nigeria as a whole, that the role of governance in the lives of people been turned around to service the people that are supposed to provide the service, to serve the people and not the other way around.
How many people do we have in Akwa Ibom State?
Last I checked, 6 million as of December 2018.
How many of those people live under in abject poverty?
Half of them in abject poverty, but in poverty, 85% of Akwa Ibomites, I wrote it on Facebook that 5-point-something million Akwa Ibomites are living in poverty, and the guy got so mad.
5-point-something million out of the 6 million live in abject poverty. Live in poverty.
Can you imagine that?
What is poverty?
Abject poverty is someone that lives on less than, how much is that? $1.5 a day. That's abject poverty. Poverty is someone that lives below $3.08 a day. $3.08 is 369 naira times 3, which gives you about 1,200. 1,200 naira times 30 days is about 35,000. Minimum wage is 18,000. Everybody collecting 30,000 down is living. Everyone earning 30,000 below for themselves are living in poverty. Every driver I know in a Akwa Ibom state earns 30,000 and below. They live in any sector, especially private sector. They earn less than 30,000. Cleaners, everybody, cooks, they live in poverty. Now, poverty is for the person. So if you earn 30,000 and you have a wife, even if it's 50,000, that's poverty, because it's for you to serve yourself. So if you have a wife, your wife should be earning the 30,000 too. So if you earn 50,000 and you have a wife, you're in poverty, because that's 25,000. So if you earn 90,000, you have a wife and a child, you're still in poverty, because each person is 30,000 a day for one person. So by the time you do that calculation, over 5.5 million Akwa Ibom people are living in poverty.
So the rich is about...
There is no rich. The rich is probably 3,000 people.
And that would be what class of people?
Those people that earn above poverty line.
Above
less than 50,000 people in Akwa Ibom are living well. Very, very less.
Okay.
Yes.
5.5 million living in poverty.
Yes.
So other than food on the table and removing people, so do you agree with that report that we Nigerians, we are the headquarters?
It's not a report that I have to agree with. It's statistics.
The statistics say we are the
headquarters of poverty in the world.
You know, I really didn't feel good saying it.
I tell you something. Half of Nigerians are living in poverty, abject poverty.
Okay.
What that means is that, and that's not the painful part. The painful part is that Akwa Ibom State is the second state with the highest number of unemployment.
Okay.
So, if Nigeria is the capital of abject poor people, Akwa Ibom State is the second worst.
Okay, so let's see. Other than putting food on the table of our Akwa Ibom people, what other thing do you think we're lacking? What other thing does Akwa Ibom need?
We lack in so many areas, but I like taking short-term, medium-term, and long-term approach to things.
We started with what does Akwa Ibom need?
Food on the table. We need almost everything. We need great healthcare. We need great schools. We need food on the table. We don't have the right infrastructure to get us to where we want to go. But the issue is, where do you start? It's not what we need. Okay,
so we have these needs, okay, and these are the things you hope to come in and change. These things
and
we say, are they similar needs to what Nigeria also needs as a country?
Yes.
So Nigeria also needs food, great health care.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so this is not just a problem peculiar to Akwa Ibom.
No,
it's a problem
it's not.
Peculiar to all of Nigeria. Yes. So how exactly do you intend to provide these things?
That is why I'm coming in with the right ideas, with the right tools to take advantage of the resources that we have, and then change the priority of government in terms of policy. Because, like for example, it's very hard to say things without comparing, but I wouldn't want to compare. Some governments look at industrialization, for example, and they do that. There's no government that does anything wrong. It just depends on their priority. The way I look at it is, you can industrialize, but allow your people to do it. So what you do is, you train the people enough to be able to do that. I'll give you an example. Since I was born until today, we build roads. We build roads every year. The budget for construction of roads and housing and transport on roads is about 53%
isn't it something that wears and tears over time?
Exactly. That's where I'm going.
Okay.
Now, it actually is cheaper to build your students in tertiary institutions and have them do the roads. If you were to invest that money in our institutions, these guys will build better long-term roads and manage them, and we would save a lot of money.
So that means that our roads
So, for example,
are bad because the guys working on them.
You pay Julius Berger to build roads every year. They take the capital away. But you have schools that have mechanical engineering, structural engineering, all sorts of engineering, in which you can take the Ministry of Works to work directly with the tertiary institutions and have the students build that road as part of their project. And those students will learn, know how to do the work, come out and set up companies to manage them over time. That's how it's done everywhere in the world. So when you want to build ministries like we do, you get the architectural department of University of Uyo or AXU, and the students will design the place and build it. What happens is, like for example, when I go to the UK all the time, and every time you go, they build the roads differently. The same way roads were built with asphalt in Nigeria is the same way they've been building it for 30 years. Oyibo stopped them over 20 years ago. Because technology keeps going. But this technology that keeps improving every year is called research and development that takes place in institutions. So my government's priority is to make sure that you make learning relevant, both at the tertiary level and at the technical and trade school level. So we use our people to develop our things.
So what about the
So the long term, that is where I'm going with education.
Okay.
So the long-term impact is that I want to take the over 200 and something billion the state puts into construction and transport and blah, 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 split it more than half, and use this money to invest in research and development in institutions, to empower our training centers so that over the years, which is the long-term goal, the people can have the capacity to carry out the works. The Ministry of Works can actually do what, actually when I was younger, the ministries used to, this thing started spoiling some time ago, because that's their function, to actually do road construction. They used to have hundreds of caterpillars, you know. So we have to go back to how these things work.
So infrastructures would be better if our education is fixed.
Yes.
How do you intend to fix education?
Exactly. We have 1,150 primary schools, 250 secondary schools, 23 tertiary institutions. Where are they? What are they missing? I have a long list, from syllabus revamping in terms of rewriting the syllabus, because we have a lot of things that are missing, especially IT.
You would have to do from national level?
No, we do it in yes.
The curriculum and the syllabus of education.
You don't change, you add.
You add.
You just yeah. You don't have to. You tweak it to fit the needs of the people, especially in practical terms, in technical terms.
And you would just concentrate in Akwa Ibom State?
Yes. So we do that. We digitize the whole system. So the schools don't have to be blackboards and whatever. You digital blackboards, computer systems, IT learning.
Where will the funding come for all of this?
You know how much it costs is actually very sad. You know that the governor spends 2 billion every month on security, and they call it security vote. The 24 billion can set all our primary schools to work, which is the security vote that is spent every year doing nothing. And there's so many organizations and countries and establishments that have funds for education to support learning in Africa.
So you're saying the security votes would go into...
I'm just saying, for example, we also have budgets for education. So we have more than enough money to solve that problem. And education is just one part of it. Health is the same way. Now, when you look at education, it's not just for our people to take advantage of, but as a business. When our schools are world class, where do you think all our neighbors will send their kids? Here. How much money will we generate? Now, when they send their kids here, mind you, they won't be coming to live in our homes, because it's only our kids that live at home. They will live in boarding schools. Do you know that feeding actually makes more money for schools than the training? You know how much will be generated? Nigeria spent, and that's just one area. I love this because it's called low-hanging fruits. This we can achieve in 1 year, and we start making money. Low-hanging fruits are things you can do quick enough in a year, 6 months.
Like what?
Like what I'm saying. And this is just in one sector. Another sector is health. Nigerians spend 1 trillion naira on medical tourism. 1 trillion. If we fix our health sector, you know what that means? Even if we are taking in 5% of 1 trillion, that's 50 billion. Is that not enough incentive for a government to say, you know what, I want to look into primary health care. I want to set up our primary healthcare centers and get it to work.
All right, so what else would you be changing?
Agriculture. We are already good in so many things, especially in rice making, garri making, palm oil. I believe that is enough for us that is where we should stop.
Okay.
I don't see any need why we import things that we don't use. Why do you manufacture things you don't have raw materials for?
What things are you talking about?
Any business that you have that a government is getting into, the raw materials should come from the state.
So what is the Kwibom state investing in that we don't have the raw materials for?
For example, I take the pencil industry or the needle industry. Everything we import, the iron for making the needle we import. Every part of that process is imported with foreign currency. How are you going to beat China? Do you know how much Israel makes from agriculture?
I'm listening, sir.
$6 billion. Do you know what Israel exports?
I'm listening again.
One thing, oranges, sokoro, and they make $6 billion. The percentage of Israel is arable, 20%.
And you would make all of this happen?
The size of Israel is just the size of Ikotebene, the arable part. And they make $6 billion every year from selling oranges.
How do they do that?
Very good. Technology. You know the good thing about technology? We can buy it.
Okay.
It's
so
not
you would
rocket
go
science.
to Israel?
I'm just saying, for example, so if we found a process where we mechanize garri making, where you can throw in the roots here and then what you have is dry garri and the other parts where you can sell, we would be way off than where we are today. So don't start investing in things that are foreign. Our people already know how to plant garri, how to harvest, what parts are good. Our people already know how to plant rice. We already know how to do palm oil. What is lacking is scale and mechanization. So you invest in that. It's called low-hanging fruits, because when you do, in a year you see results, because there's nobody you will send for training to go and learn aircraft repair 200 years in Canada and come back and know how to repair planes so we can buy private jets. No, we already have the garri farmers and we will be making money. It's not timbo. They say tomorrow planes are not flying, they're not making profit, or next tomorrow they will fly. No, garri, everybody's eating it. Do you know that America makes over $400 billion from agriculture export? Do you know what America exports?
Well, listening, sir.
3 things. Livestock, corn, wheat, agbapa. Do you know how much UK makes from exporting agriculture?
You've done your studies, I see.
I have. People export only what they produce, and they don't do 500, 2, 3. Garri, rice, and palm oil is enough. It is our turf.
So how will you do these things here?
By investing in our people that are already there, by giving the associations and the different cooperatives that are already working this thing the scale they need, the access to the funds, and the access to the resources they need to mechanize and scale.
How long will it take for you to effect this kind of change in agriculture, for instance?
2 years.
2 years. Let's see if you have the blueprint of hand. Let's see how it would work the first year. Let's see how you spread these processes into 2 years.
When I get in office, you'll see it.
You can share until then.
Why would I do that? So that somebody else will.
We are trying to have faith in you. We're trying to have to know that you know exactly what you're coming to do. We're trying to understand why we should vote for you on March 9th.
I have already said it. I have already said that our farmers, I'm going to give them access to the loans that they need. I'm going to give them
education and agriculture and healthcare. Oh, you've not told us how you want to fix healthcare.
Healthcare or primary healthcare centers that we don't have that are not working, our secondary healthcare centers and our tertiary healthcare centers, we invest in them. We give them the resources they need instead of having one big hospital.
Where will the fund come for these investments?
In the budget, we have budgets for it.
So we'll be banking on the allocation that comes into the state.
And a lot of partnerships that are available in different areas, if you ask me.
What partnerships now?
Like for example, if you take health, you know we don't have the insurance scheme for health in Akwa Ibom State. I don't know why the governor has not assented to it. But if he does, there are many funds that he can tap into that will support that sector. Because when you create the insurance scheme, there's a fund called Gavi Fund. You can investigate, you can check it. It puts about $1.3 billion in healthcare insurance. And the federal government already has funds that's already locked up that would match any funding the state government allocates to health insurance in the state. You have Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, for example, that focus on certain areas in Africa for health. The European Union, the American government, so many, the French government, the Japanese government.
So we will get all of these funds.
There is a proliferation of funds and partnerships in different areas, not healthcare, in every sector I'm talking about. The reason why governments here don't get into them is because these guys count to fund. So there's a pause. You bring in $1 million, for example, and they match you with 9 or whatever the agreement is. Now our governments don't like that. We like grants because why? They want to steal the money. They want to do the contract. They want to do their thing how they know it. And then the partners say, no, we are not going to do that. We're not African governments. You guys want to chop the money. So our state governments don't get into it. And state governments in Nigeria don't do it. There are funds everywhere open for us to tap into it when we are ready to do the right thing.
Thank you very much.
So that's done with healthcare. With these 3 sectors, your government would be
ready to go.
Very well.
So how do you intend to win this race?
Well, the last election has shown us that the people of Akwa Ibom State are ready to show that they own the land. And that's what I've been praying for, that God should make our people have the ability to go to the ballot box and vote the right person. I believe I've done all I need to do to get the people to know what my ideas are about.
Did you campaign in all the 31 local government areas?
No, I couldn't because I don't have the resources.
Okay,
so I rely a lot on...
Who have you reached out to?
I've reached out to mostly young people, youths in universities, tertiary institutions, social media, radios, and the rest of it. And I've used a lot of political platforms, political parties. I have this coalition with about 17 political parties. And they adopted me as the governorship candidate as a result of what I bring to the table and my ability to put together teams that can work and deliver service. So I'm riding on their backs, their networks and their contacts across all the local governments. So when we are going to the poll, all the 17 parties will be standing behind me and voting me as the candidate.
These 17 parties, do you believe that they can deliver you come 9?
I believe that it's God that can deliver me. If it were to be party and the ability of men, Gospel Apabi would have been senator. So I don't mislead myself by giving man too much credibility.
So you do believe in the just concluded presidential and...
I believe it was free and fair.
You believe it was free and fair. You also know that the people voted the People's Democratic Party the more. Now, what's your party?
I don't understand what you mean the more.
Okay, if I'm right, I think all the 9 seats, okay, all the 3 senators came from the People's Democratic Party.
Yes. Yes.
So it means the people voted the People's Democratic Party.
I believe so. I believe the PDP did a much better job than the APC in Akwa Ibom State.
Okay, so why do you think the people will not vote for the PDP in these coming elections, that they would vote for you? What's your party again?
ANRP.
ANRP. Why do you think the people will vote for ANRP, not the PDP?
We will wait to see, because what we bring to the table and the strategies that we use is not the same strategies that they understand that's on the ground.
Now,
by mere logic, you have not gone to all these people
I have.
to tell them? No, you just said here that you've not canvassed for votes or campaigned in all the 31 local government areas.
Not had rallies like it's normally had in all the local governments, physical presence.
You do
But digital
understand
presence,
that people who would want to hear from you, to hear.
from me.
They would want to see what you're bringing. But I'm wondering, has the 31 local government areas that make...
what someone is bringing?
Hold on. Away from the internet. Most of the Akwa Ibom people are not on the internet. If it's on the internet, if they are all on the internet, then I would say they've seen what you're bringing to the table.
Yes.
I'm just asking, the fact that you've not reached to all these corners, to all these nooks and crannies, there's a possibility that most of them don't even know what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The thing is, while I was doing my community development service, I went around everywhere.
What was your community development service again?
Alert Nigeria, we're empowering people to carry out projects in every local government in Akwa Ibom State every quarter.
What kind of projects, please?
How it works is that I just put up a prize and I tell people to go to their local government of origin and their community of origin and look for any problem they can solve within a price of ₦1 million.
Okay.
And whatever it is, whatever the problem is in your community, you write about it and we appraise it and we support you to solve that problem.
Activities with Alert Nigeria had announced you to the people.
Yeah.
But the message was community service, problem solving. How many communities were you able to cover? All the local governments. Did you tell them at that time that you were coming back to seek for their votes?
I didn't have, there was no reason for that.
Okay, so Alert Nigeria was not started because you wanted just to announce your name to the people?
Yeah. It was started because I wanted to provide service, which I did, and which I am still doing. So it wasn't a political platform to launch political ideas.
How old is Alert Nigeria?
5
years. Amazing. Okay, so you're just believing that they heard about Alert Nigeria, that you touched their lives somehow.
Yeah.
So if they see ANRP up,
No, not so. I mean,
how would they know that you were behind Alert Nigeria, that gave them maybe water, that gave them maybe food, that gave them business?
our canvassers are doing the job. They've been doing that for years, since last year.
So you're sure that Akwa Ibom people know Iboro Otu is seeking for their votes?
Yes.
All of Akwa Ibom people know?
Not all of Akwa Ibom people. There's segments I'm canvassing a lot.
Do you believe that
before we wrap it all up, do you like the idea of the Ibom Air?
No, we're talking about that what the government does is what it knows. What someone does in power is how much they know. So I guess every government has its own priority, and it's not in my place to say what a government has done is right or wrong. When I get into office, what I'll do. And when someone else gets into office, they'll probably do something totally different. But for me, what I feel our people need right now is to catch up with the world. And to catch up with the world, we need to have the right skill set. We need to educate our people to be able to get jobs anywhere in the world and stand their ground because they are competitively ready. And we need to provide basic services that will enable people chase their dreams, because when people are well, they can work. Great healthcare, great schools, have food on their tables to eat, and then we create an environment for entrepreneurs and jobs to thrive and people to thrive. And this is what I want to provide, because once that is provided, we will have people amongst our people that will be able to aspire and partner to own airlines, and they can bring them in, for example, to own businesses to repair roads, engineers, and they can do that. But to be able to scale and meet the world, there are some basics I feel we've not met, and I want to meet those basics in these 4 areas.
Thank you very much for your time here. But before we say good night and goodbyes for today, do you believe that you will win this governorship race?
I have a 100% belief that I will win the governorship race. I do. Because I believe in Akwa Ibom people, and I believe that they believe I'll meet their needs. And I'll tell you one thing, You know, about 600 or 400 people are in this, 600 and something thousand, 700,000 people were registered to vote in the Gubernatorial district. You know what the number of votes that it took? I think Akpabio scored 89,000, the other guy scored 120. Less than 250,000 people turned up. My hope is in the 2/3 that don't vote. The 2/3 of the people that have voter apathy are students and working class people. And those are the people I'm reaching out to. So it's not only the guys in the rural areas, even though there are a lot that get to vote and put people in. It's just that that's the demographic that the traditional politicians know how to sing to, because they know the other 2/3 don't get engaged. I'm engaging the 2/3. So watch out for a surprise.
What if you don't win?
If I don't win, I will continue with my community development service and get ready for other things that may come up.
Would you try again next time if you don't this time?
It's possible, very likely.
This is the part where I ask the question again, between collaboration and competition.
Yeah.
Let's just say the results don't favor you on March 9th.
Yeah.
Is there a chance you would walk up to whoever wins and offer a hand of fellowship, like we say it in the church, and say, let's do this together. I have these amazing plans. You had the votes to win, so let's do this together. Is there a part of you that would want to consider that?
Well, if they come to me, I'd be very excited and I'll jump on it. But yeah, I'm going somewhere. I've been walking up to governments all my life. No one ever takes people that walk up to them in this part of the world. When you walk up to people, they underprice you and they probably ridicule you. And it's happened so many times. I've brought so many projects to so many governments, even this one, and they always say, oh no, I beg, this one is not part of us. Because they look at government as it's a kind of clique. They even think that people in the other parties are not quite like, people feel that when you belong to another party, it means you don't love Akwa Ibom State like they do.
Okay, this has been fun and I'm going to take you to the limits very soon. Okay. But just before then, I would like you to take a camera and talk to Akwa Ibom people. Yeah.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, we have been at this for a very long time, going around in circles, changing governments, but then it's the same set of people that are around government and taking what's supposed to be ours. And we've come to a period, we've come to a time in life where we need to spread the wealth around. Share the resources of the state with our people, with everyone else, by providing services that really touch the lives of our people, us, me and you. And I believe there are certain areas, especially in health, education, agriculture, food security, ICT, in which when we basically provide these services to our people, to each and every one of us, we will be able to grow, our kids will be able to grow and have a brighter future. This is what I'm bringing to the table. I believe that to get somewhere, even if it's to get to space, we need to start somewhere, and that's the basics. So I want to be your governor. I want you to vote for me and put me in office so I can provide these services for you and your children and generations to come. And hopefully with this, we will be able to build and get better and better than the rest of the country. Thank you.